One late afternoon, I invited some of my friends to play Sonic R. As we turned on the Sega Saturn, we were excited for a racing tournament. As we were at the character select screen, I chose the Tails doll for humor. Most of my friends were laughing as they chose Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, Mecha Eggman, and Super Sonic. Later, I won all the races since was an expert at this game. We realized time flew by, so my friends left. I still felt like playing video games, so I inserted my Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing disc into my PlayStation 3. Me and my friends played a few races online, and a message popped up to my screen coming from a user called Tails Doll. I opened it, and it said, "Thank you." For what? I sent a message back to this user. Tails Doll then sent another message saying, "You won first place with the Tails Doll. I was watching you." I got freaked out for a second, thinking something was watching over us as we were playing Sonic R. Another message from Tails Doll saying, "Can you feel the sunshine?" And sent me a friend request, but I didn't accept it because I don't even know who this guy is. I sent all my friends a message saying, "Did you see anybody watching us?" Because I got sent a message from a user called Tails Doll saying he watched me win first place with the Tails Doll. My friends sent back messages saying they don't know, and with an emoticon. I searched Tails Doll's profile, but it said the profile doesn't exist. I immediately turned off the PlayStation 3 and used my laptop to go to the PSN forums. I made a thread about my message encounter with the Tails Doll. Users were replying. They also reported getting messages after playing Sonic R with Tails Doll. An administrator deleted the thread, calling it nonsense. It was 10 p.m., so I went to the bedroom, turned off the lights, and slept. When I woke up the next morning, I found a little paper saying, "Dear Richard, I am going to kill your friends to show them that they are fools. Sincerely, the doll." There was a little bloodstain where the doll was red. I freaked out and threw it in the trash and had a 1,000-mile stare until I got to school. I ran inside the classroom and screamed to my friends that they will be killed. The teacher thought I was the class clown and punished me with lunch detention for today. At lunch detention, one of my peers said that they heard of the Tails Doll after I told them my encounter with it. What made me get chills in my spine is that he told me I'm the Tails Doll's vessel. Meaning that I pleased the Tails Doll by playing as him in Sonic R. The moment after he said that, the fire alarm rang and we evacuated the school. Smoke was coming from the third floor and it was a real fire. It was coming from my classroom. I came home early due to the fire. I told my parents about the fire, but not the Tails Doll. My father told me that my uncle and my cousins are coming. Luckily, my uncle was a retired veteran, so I might have some protection from the Tails Doll for now. A few hours later, I told my cousins the entire story and they didn't believe me, saying that it was a good, scary story, but this is reality. Suddenly, my cell phone was ringing, and it was my friend saying he was having a party. I got permission from my parents, and I headed off to my friend's house. As I got there, we had a great time fooling around, eating like hell, and watching fights of drunk men. After a while, the doorbell rang. The music was so loud we couldn't hear it, so the doorbell rang continuously until I noticed the sounds and opened it. It was my older brother, and he joined the party. I had a sleepover at my friend's house since it was too late to go home. I woke up at 5 a.m. that morning and found a doll that looks like the Tails Doll from Sonic R. Since I find no interest in dolls, I gave it to my little sister when I got home. My guard was down, thinking that the doll conspiracy was finally over. I read my dad's newspaper and I jumped out of my chair when I saw the headline. It read, "Fire started in Eisenhower Middle School by unknown entity. 3 injured." This unknown entity sounded like the Tails doll, and I became paranoid once again. I decided to be a temporary paperboy to end my boredom after breakfast. An hour later, all the papers were delivered, and the days after were quite casual with no school. As I checked the mailbox for letters from my classmates, I stumbled upon a yellow envelope, which was quite unusual. I ripped it open with curiosity, and it was from your secret killer. It read, "My dear friend, I know where you live. I will not kill your friends, but burn their house instead for even more suffering. Will you play with me?" I ran to the nearest trash can and threw it away, and I attempted to clear my mind. Later that night, several fire trucks came to several houses, and I realized that letter was actually telling the truth for once. School reopened the next day, and what happened last night made it to Fox News that morning. As I entered the classroom when I came to school, everybody was paranoid, just like me. And when school was over, as I walked home, I found a paper saying, "I will see you, Richard," on the sidewalk. Then I believed this Tails doll was actually real. I ran as fast as I can. When I stopped, I saw fresh blood dripping from a storm drain. I suddenly became sick and disgusted by this horrific sight. I ran even faster and was inside my home, and I locked the door tight. Something was poking on me, and so I turned around. Nothing was there. I ran upstairs to my room. The door locked for no reason. Nothing was inside. The lights went out for no reason. I heard loud steps coming from the stairs. A red light appeared. The light turned on. It was the Tails doll. It told me in a demonic voice, "I will show you the error of your ways." I took out a knife, but turned around and floated outside. I closed my eyes in horror as it was killing innocent people. It came back saying, "Are you happy knowing you can feel the sunshine?" It got a huge machete and was ready to kill me as well. I locked the door and dropped down from the window. With luck, I landed on the ground. The Tails doll was furiously slashing at the door. A piece of the door flew out of the window, and the doll's dark eyes were glaring at me. It threw the knife and it almost hit me. It found a chainsaw and told me it was doing a sacrifice. I jumped through numerous fences, but it was too fast. It has a slight cut from the chainsaw, dripping with blood. I ran through an alley and floated straight trying to slice me in two. Before it was going to kill me, I found a wooden cross and shoved it in front of him. He burned like it was a bomb and exploded. I limped my way back home with a chainsaw and told my siblings an unbelievable story. There are many, many different versions of the Tails doll in creepypasta form. You had the most notable one, the Tails doll curse, which is basically just starts off the same way. The protagonist and some friends decide to play multiplayer in Sonic R. Play Sonic R. They unlock, and when they go to Resort Island, the first track of the game out of 5. Can You Feel the Sunshine plays backwards, and then after winning, they get challenged to a race by the Tails doll, which doesn't happen because if you saw in the gameplay footage playing in the background, you get all 5 of the Sonic coins. You get challenged by Metal Sonic, not Tails doll. So the protagonist then beats the Tails doll, unlocks the Tails doll, then they play as the Tails doll, and then that's when things actually start to go off the rails. You have that, and then you have something like this, which is very clearly not true in the slightest. Because if it were true, there would have been an actual, like, news broadcast. And I don't, as far as I know, there was no news broadcast. So, obviously, the story's fake. I should also mention that the grammar and everything in this story is terrible. And the reason why the grammar is terrible is because it's mentioned in the story. It's written by a middle school student, so it's obviously written by someone very young who, at the time, was trying to, go after, like, join the trend of Tales doll, creepypasta culture, It's very obvious that that's the case. And hey, everybody has to start somewhere. Because of that, I'm not going to be too harsh on that. Because, again, obviously it's written by someone very young who was into creepypastas around the same time I was. And so I can't be too harsh. But I will say that here's a little fun fact about me. The Tales doll curse was actually one of the first creepypastas I've ever heard. And I actually genuinely do think Sorry. I genuinely do think that the Tales doll is also a very interesting character. Of course, the only times you really see the Tales doll are in Sonic R and in the comics. And even then, you never really saw it in the comics, so you couldn't. So it really just wasn't, like, too popular of a character until, creepypastas came out. And, again, many versions of the Tales doll were written. I mean, it even came back to life with one of Vibing Leaves' most recent videos, where it was basically a Tales doll retake starring Lynx 4. I saw that the day it was uploaded, and it was pretty good. Like, it was very well made, very well written, very well acted as well. Like, everything about the video was phenomenal. And that video, Vibing Leaf video, made me want to read a Tales doll creepypasta this month. And I'm glad I did. And there's one other thing I also wanted to mention. I wanted to end this month off with 2 different Sonic creepypastas. Now, this isn't the original Tales doll creepypasta, but I did cover a Tales doll one, which is what I wanted to do. I would have preferred if it was the original Tales doll curse creepypasta. But again, a Tales doll creepypasta is what I wanted to do, so I can't be too upset about that. And if you know creepypasta culture, there is one other Sonic creepypasta that I absolutely have to cover. And if you know creepypastas, especially Sonic ones, you can probably guess which Sonic creepypasta it's going to be. I'm not going to say what it is, but I will say you're going to have to wait until Halloween for me to upload that. And believe me, I am excited to read it. Because it is one I have been wanting to read ever since I started reading creepypastas. Well, again, it was like the first creepypasta I ever heard told to me, but I figured, you know what better way to end October off, especially in October, where I read creepypastas on the weekends, and obviously Halloween as well, because it makes sense to do one on Halloween too, than the most infamous Sonic creepypasta ever written. And again, if you know Sonic creepypastas, you know what it's going to be. But you're going to have to wait until Halloween. And with that said, I would like to know your thoughts on this story, what you thought about it. Because again, me personally, it obviously it was written by someone very young, wanting to go on the trend of, Tales doll and creepypastas, so can't really be too judgmental on it. But let me know what you thought about the story in the comments. Thank you for watching. Get ready for Halloween, because Halloween, the most infamous Sonic creepypasta, will be read. I'm excited for it.